Hi, and welcome back to AWS Julie. Today we're continuing our new series covering network fundamentals in AWS, and we will cover the 6th and 7th layer of the OSI model, layer 6, the presentation layer, and layer 7, the application layer. Please remember to share this video with anyone who may be interested. Give it a thumbs up if you like it, sub if you love it, and let's dive in. So in this lesson, we're diving deep into the OSI model, and we're learning about layer 6, the presentation layer, which adds features for the delivery and formatting of information, to the application layer, layer 7, for further processing or display. Layer 6 provides a more limited and specific function than the other layers and is used less often than the other layers of the OSI model. Layer 6 provides the separation of different data representation. It adds encryption and transforms the data from an application data format to a network format and vice versa or back again. It transforms data into a form that the specific application can accept and also takes the application's data and encrypts it to be sent over a network. And for many types of connections, this is not required. The reason that the presentation layer is not always used in network communications is that the jobs mentioned above are simply not always needed. It adds compression and encryption, which are usually considered optional, and translation features are also only needed in certain circumstances. Another reason why the presentation layer is sometimes not mentioned is that the functions may be performed as part of the application layer. The fact that the translation job by the presentation layer is not always needed means that it is common for it to be skipped by actual protocol stack implementations. This means that the protocols at layer 7 may talk directly with those at layer 5. Once again, this is part of the reason why all the functions of the layers 5 through 7 may be included together in the same software package. So layer 6 serves as a data translator between an application or process and the network, and it ensures that the application layer, layer 7, does not have to be prepared for syntactical differences in data or how that data is represented at the end user systems. Differences among browsers make the actual display of the data slightly different on each browser, depending on how they honor or interpret the data formatting presented by the web page. This formatting variance is why so many people have multiple web browsers installed on their computers. The presentation layer is the layer that developers and programmers choose their data structure and presentation. Layer 6 adds features or capabilities for data conversion translation so that networks can connect very different types of computers together. Because we have PCs, we have Macintoshes, Unix systems, and mainframes that can all exist on the same network. And these systems have many distinct characteristics and represent data in many different ways. The presentation layer handles the job of hiding these differences between different machines. Encryption is one of the key translations that takes place at the presentation layer. In outbound traffic from the client, the presentation layer will encrypt data that is sent. And on the other end of that connection, on the server end, it decrypts that data that is sent through the application layer. Some types of encryption and decryption are performed at the presentation layer. This ensures the security of that data as it travels down the protocol stack. One of the most popular associated with the presentation layer is the Secure Sockets Layer, or SSL protocol. But not all encryption is done at layer 6. Some encryption is often done at lower layers in the protocol stack, like the IPsec, which we learned about in an earlier video. But we also have compression at the presentation layer, and this includes compression functions. Compression and decompression at the presentation layer improves the throughput of our data. The presentation layer establishes context between application layer entities. Because application layer entities may use different syntax if the presentation service provides a mapping between them. If a mapping is available, then the presentation protocol data units are encapsulated into the session protocol data units, and it's passed down that protocol stack. Let me know if you want a deeper dive on encryption in the comments below. The idea is that the application layer should be able to point at the data to be moved, and then the presentation layer will deal with the rest. Layer 7, the application layer, is the highest layer of our OSI model, and it is the closest to the end user. Layer 7, the application layer, supports communications for end user processes and applications and the presentation of data for user-facing software application. It provides application-specific functions like identifying communication partners and the quality of service between them. Also, determining resource availability, and this is considering privacy and also user authentication. But we also have synchronizing communication as well and connecting the application to the lower level of the OSI models. Layer 7 provides application services for network software services based on Layer 7 protocols such as HTTP, SMTP, and also FTP. And this includes our web browsing like Google Chrome, Firefox, Safari, and so on. Layer 7 adds direct interaction with the software applications and has full visibility into the network data. And when we enable application-aware networking with Layer 7, the application is aware of the networking, creating more intelligence for load balancers to make decisions to optimize that content. Instead of forwarding traffic that is unread, like a Layer 4 load balancer, a Layer 7 load balancer terminates network traffic. It performs decryption as needed, it inspects the messages, makes content-based routing decision, initiates a new TCP connection to the appropriate upstream server, and then writes the request to that server. Both the OSI application layer and the user interact directly with the software application layer because the application layer is the OSI layer closest to the end user and implements a communication component. And the application layer determines the identity and availability of communication partners for an application with that data to transmit. The most important distinction in the application layer is the distinction between the application entity and the application. This layer also helps applications access the network services. And this wraps up our OSI model deep dive. Please let me know if you want to take a deeper dive into anything that we've covered so far. For the next video, I'm thinking about talking about network topologies, including the AWS well-architected framework and the shared responsibility model. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I hope to see y'all again real soon.